Hello, today I'd like to talk about a very interesting topic, and it's stem cells. And I'd like to discuss an excerpt or a small section from Dave Asprey's book on stem cells, and this is part 3, Healing Like a Deity. So in the 1980s, stem cells were studied from 8-cell embryos. And there was a huge issue on fetuses because research shut down, even though stem cells also found in adults, so we didn't know it back then. So because we didn't want to just remove these stem cells and kill fetuses, so the research shut down. But actually, stem cells are also found in adults, in adult tissues. And current therapies right now actually use adult stem cells from patients' own body or placental or cord tissue that's left over from healthy pregnancies that we used to just incinerate or throw away as waste before we learn how to actually use them for healing purposes. Only some are legal, right? These adult stem cell treatments, and even those have restrictions. But we should be able to choose what to do with our bodies because technically it's our choice, our biology, our choice, and so these restrictions are definitely annoying. Now, adult stem cells can't turn into any stem cell like embryonic stem cells. For example, immune stem cells can only turn into any type of immune cell. Neuronal stem cells can turn into other type of neural cells, but cannot become a heart cell, for example. Versus embryonic stem cells are pluripotent, which means they can self-renew and become any cell in the body. There are stem cells, for example, in the bone marrow, which are used to treat various types of cancers, and even recently discovered in the heart and in the brain there are also stem cells. Now, stem cells used to heal, but essentially they're in every type of tissue. They're recently also discovered in the heart and the brain. But stem cells are used to heal tissue when there's an injury or when we age. So as we age, stem cells become depleted and we get tissue atrophy. With less stem cells, cells that die don't get replaced and injured tissues deteriorate. So they shrink, they get smaller, they atrophy. That's why older people don't heal as easily from injuries as younger people. So if you want to heal like a deity or like a god, if you want to heal like a teenager, like a young person, stem cell renewal or replenishing your tissues of stem cells is a way to do that because older people actually lose them. And stem cell exhaustion causes nagging pain and release of substance P, which causes inflammation. So a depletion of stem cells in a tissue causes pain and inflammation, period. And so clearly by replenishing the stem cells in a tissue, we can reduce this annoying pain that older people have, those aging aches and pains, right? That's very typical of older people, as well as reduce inflammation. And so you can actually take a stem cells, and there are these types of pluripotent type of like cells that can become any type of cell in your body, and they're found in the bone marrow as well as in the subcutaneous fat, right? I mean, they're also found in every tissue, but to become those cells in the same tissue. But like stem cells from the bone marrow and subcutaneous fat can turn into cells in any type of body, and so into any type of cell of the body, I mean, right? And so you can reinject them anywhere to reduce inflammation and promote healing in that target area. But not only stem cells, right? There's other markers like growth factors and other types of cells that are also more present in the blood of a youthful individual versus the one that's older, And so Dave Asprey actually found a person called Harry Adelson, and he's a doctor that uses stem cells. And in 2015, he used the stem cells on Asprey. That's when he went to him to treat pain that comes with aging. And so literally he injects stem cells in one sitting to people with arthritis, to different types of people, different jobs who get arthritis often, right? Through repetitive movements of the hand. I don't know, but they're more prone to arthritis, and usually uses stem cell treatments to heal the pain associated with arthritis in these individuals. And he actually uses a combination of fat and bone marrow, which is unique from other people who use either or. And the reason is because those in the bone marrow are actually more potent. They're like the workhorses. and have more beneficial growth factors than ones in the fat. But unfortunately, we don't have as many of them. Fat stem cells are more plentiful. We have much more of them, but they're not as potent as the stem cells found in the bone marrow. So by combining the two, you get the best of both worlds. You combine two different types of stem cells, these embryonic, pluripotent. These pluripotent, they can become any different cell type. You combine the ones in the bone marrow and in the fat, and you get the best of both worlds. And so the doctor actually removed the subcutaneous fat from Dave Asprey's belly or love handles, right? He used liposuction, so he removed the fat. Of course, he used anesthesia, so Asprey wouldn't feel anything. And then he also made an incision in his butt cheek and hammered the bone in his hip to remove stem cell from the bone marrow. And so again, he took a bit from the fat and a bit from the bone marrow, spun it in a centrifuge, and used a 3D X-ray machine to inject it to sites with old injury. And that's for Dave Asprey. As a teenager, when he was playing soccer, I believe he fell down or something, and he had the right shoulder cuff damage. He suffered from upper back pains for years, even like early on in his life. And then he put those stem cells, right, the doctor, in these areas where he had this old type of pain, old aches and pains, old type of pain and inflammation. And Dave Asprey also put some in his skin, right, where the collagen and elastin is, to have young skin, and also into reproductive organs. And so literally after doing that, his reproductive organs regenerated, and his shoulder and back pain went away completely. And Dr. Lana, I believe his wife, also tried some things for her old injuries, like back and neck pain, as she also fell, and somebody pushed her from a window of the second floor, something that's really, or from a story high. It's crazy, and she literally couldn't move her neck. And she also put some in her female reproductive organs, because as we age, sexual pleasure actually decreases because the tissue there shrinks, and so her reproductive tissues regenerated, and she could finally move her head pain-free, so she had no more neck pain. And so this thing actually, Dave Asprey talks about how it even helped somebody with heart valve damage, and that person didn't even require surgery. Which is amazing. Literally, stem cells actually reduce the inflammation there. It's incredible. I myself have an issue with my heart valve, and this would be interesting to try. And then Asprey's mom had a scar when she fell, and glasses literally scratched her skin under the eye. And she injected the stem cells intravenously to go to side of inflammation, and the scar shrunk, and she couldn't even see it. So nearly a 70-year-old healed, no problem, and all the inflammation in her scar tissue underneath her eye, that injury, was completely eliminated, and literally the scar tissue was gone, and it wasn't even visible anymore. So clearly the power of stem cells to treat injuries, old injuries, and reduce inflammation in those targeted areas.